The dealer looked at me with pity in his eyes. Ma'am, he said, your son already signed the papers. The car is gone. That car, it wasn't just metal and rubber. It was the last thing my husband Arthur ever touched. He died holding the keys in his hand. And now, my own son, David, had sold it behind my back to pay off his gambling debts. David thought I was just a grieving old widow. He thought I was weak. He thought I wouldn't fight. He was wrong. Because David forgot one small detail. He didn't just sell a car. He sold evidence, evidence of a crime he committed. And by the time he realized what he'd done, it was too late.
Welcome to my story vault. This is the story of how a classic car became a coffin for my son's future.
My name is Eleanor. For 40 years, Arthur and I ran a small logistics company. We weren't billionaires, but we were comfortable. We had a beautiful home, a few investments, and this 1967 Mustang Fastback. Arthur spent every weekend in the garage polishing it. It was his pride and joy. When Arthur passed away last winter, the car became my shrine to him. I'd sit in the driver's seat sometimes just to smell the leather and feel close to him again. Then David moved back in. To help you through the grief, Mom, he said. You shouldn't be alone. I was so grateful. I gave him a key to the house. I gave him access to my bank accounts for bill paying. I trusted him with everything. For 3 months, he was the perfect son. He cooked dinner. He drove me to appointments. He listened to my stories about Arthur. But then the request started. Mom, can I borrow $500 just until payday? Mom, I need to use the car for a job interview. I said yes every time, because that's what mothers do. We believe the best in our children. But I should have looked closer. It started with small things, jewelry missing from my dresser, cash gone from my purse. I told myself I was just forgetful, that grief was making me confused. Then one Tuesday, I went out to the garage to check the tire pressure on the Mustang. The spot was empty. My heart stopped. I called David, no answer. I called his friends. No one knew. I drove to the only classic car dealer in town, my hands shaking on the wheel, and there it was, sitting on the lot, a for sale sign in the window, price $45,000, cash. I marched inside. The dealer, a nice man named Mr. Henderson, looked shocked to see me. Mrs. Gable, he said softly, your son was here this morning. He said you wanted to downsize, that the car was too much for you to handle. That's a lie, I cried. I would never sell this car. Mr. Henderson showed me the bill of sale. David's signature was right there, and the money. It was already transferred, directly into David's personal account. I called David again. This time he answered. David, how could you? That was your father's car. His voice was cold, calm. Mom, face it, you're not driving it, you're just hoarding it. I needed the cash. I have obligations. Gambling debts? I whispered. I'd heard the whispers in town. Don't judge me, Mom, he snapped. It's done. Get over it. And he hung up. I stood in that showroom, tears streaming down my face. I felt broken, betrayed, alone. But then I remembered something. Arthur was a careful man. Before he died, we had a conversation. He knew David had problems. He knew David was selfish. 2 weeks before he passed, Arthur took me to the garage. He opened the trunk of the Mustang. Eleanor, he said, if anything happens to me and David tries to sell this car, look under the spare tire liner. I hadn't thought about it since. Grief had clouded my mind. But standing in that dealership, it all came back. I thanked Mr. Henderson and rushed home. I went straight to the garage. Wait, the car was gone. But I had the spare key. I drove to Mr. Henderson's house. It was evening. The dealership was closed. The car was parked in his private driveway, waiting for a buyer to view it the next day. I climbed over the fence. My knees popped, my heart raced, but adrenaline kept me going. I reached the Mustang. I opened the trunk. I lifted the floor mat. I pulled back the spare tire liner. And there it was, a small, waterproof lockbox. Inside wasn't money. It was a flash drive and a handwritten note from Arthur. If David sells this car, he's desperate. Check the dash cam. It records to the cloud. I set it up last month. My hands trembled as I plugged the flash drive into my laptop. I logged into the cloud account Arthur had written down. There were dozens of video files, dash cam footage, interior audio. I clicked on the most recent one, dated yesterday. David and a friend were sitting in the car, laughing. "Did she suspect anything?" the friend asked. "Nope," David said. "Old Bat is clueless. She thinks I'm helping her. Once I sell this, I'm paying off the loan sharks. If they come after me, well, maybe I'll tell them Grandma has some savings left too." They laughed. They talked about forging my signature on other documents. They talked about putting me in a nursing home and taking the house. I sat in the dark driveway, listening to my son plot my ruin. The sadness vanished, replaced by something cold, something sharp. Arthur hadn't just left me a car, he'd left me a weapon. I didn't confront David, not yet. First, I called my lawyer, Sarah. I sent her the video files. "Martha," she said, her voice grim, "this is fraud, forgery, elder abuse, and conspiracy to commit theft. This is prison time, easily." "Good," I said. "Now call Mr. Henderson. Tell him the car is stolen property. Tell him if he sells it, he's an accessory." Next, I called the police. I filed a report for grand larceny and forgery. I gave them the video evidence. Then I made one last call to David's boss, the one person who valued integrity above all else. I told him what David had done. I offered to send the video. By the next morning, the trap was set. David arrived at the dealership at 9 a.m., bringing the buyer with him. He was smiling, counting his imaginary money, but waiting for him weren't just buyers. It was Mr. Henderson, 2 police officers, and my lawyer. David's smile faded when he saw the handcuffs. "David Gable," the officer said, "you are under arrest for forgery, fraud, and elder abuse." "What? No, Mom, tell them. It's a misunderstanding," David screamed, looking at me. I stepped forward. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I walked up to him, straightened his collar, and whispered, "Your father knew you'd try this, David. He recorded everything. You didn't just sell a car, son. You sold your freedom." They led him away. He was begging now, crying, but I turned my back, just like he had turned his back on me. David pleaded guilty. He got 3 years in state prison, restitution of $60,000, and a permanent criminal record. His boss fired him, his wife left him, taking the kids. He lost everything. As for me, I kept the Mustang. I drive it every Sunday. I visit Arthur's grave and tell him the news. And I learned a hard lesson. Love doesn't mean blind trust. Sometimes love means protecting yourself from the people you love most. David thought I was a helpless old woman, but he forgot who taught him how to be strong. He forgot that I am the matriarch, and in this family, justice is never buried. If you enjoyed this story of justice served, please hit the like button and subscribe to My Story Vault TV. We have many more stories of betrayal, secrets, and revenge coming soon. Tell us in the comments, what would you have done if your family betrayed you like this? Until next time, keep your secrets safe and your enemies closer.